What if everything you're going through right now is the answer to a prayer you forgot you made? Have you ever asked God for a sign? Not out loud, maybe not even in words, but in that quiet place, the place between pain and hope. You whispered something like, "God, show me why I'm here." And then, life got louder. Things got weirder. The world stopped making sense. People changed. You changed. You see, when you carry a divine purpose, your life doesn't follow normal patterns. You start waking up at 3 a.m. with your heart racing. You feel things deeper than others. You begin to sense that something or someone is calling you. And no matter how much you try to ignore it, the signs only get louder. This isn't coincidence. This is a spiritual awakening. God never stops speaking, but we're not always ready to hear until the right moment, until the exact second when your soul is finally quiet enough, broken enough, or desperate enough to listen. And that moment, for many of you, is now. You're not here by accident. If this video showed up on your screen, it's because something is being stirred in the spiritual realm. There's a reason this message found you. You are being marked, pulled, called. Because whether you know it or not, you are one of the chosen ones. Now, I don't say that to hype you up or make you feel special in some cliché way. I say it because I know what it's like to wrestle with this realization, to feel like you're going crazy, to wonder if you're just imagining things, or if God is actually trying to reach you. Let me tell you this with absolute certainty. You are not imagining this. Everything, from the dreams you're having, to the way your body reacts in moments of silence, to the unexplainable coincidences lining up lately, is part of a pattern, a divine code, a message being whispered directly into your spirit. But here's the hard truth. Not everyone hears it. And not everyone who hears it obeys it, because it's easier to go back to sleep. It's easier to pretend it's just anxiety or burnout. It's easier to fit in than to awaken. But deep down, you know the truth, that this stirring inside of you isn't random, that your whole life has been leading you to this moment, that everything you've lost, everything you've questioned, everything you've survived has been part of your spiritual preparation. And now, the signs are becoming undeniable. The number sequences, the recurring dreams, the sudden emotional shifts, the urge to disconnect from people and things that no longer align with your spirit, all of it is spiritual alignment. You've been called, you've been chosen, you're being prepared, and what's coming next, it will reveal exactly what that means. But before we go deeper, I need you to listen carefully, because in the next few minutes, you're going to hear things that confirm everything you've quietly wondered for years. Everything you've felt but never said out loud. Everything your soul has been screaming for you to remember. This isn't just a video, this is a wake-up call. And what you're about to discover will change everything. So here's what I want you to do. If you're feeling this in your spirit, if something in you is trembling right now, don't ignore it. Don't brush it off. Respond to the call. Right now, in the comments, I want you to write your prayer request. Yes, actually, write it out. Even if it feels uncomfortable, even if it's just a few words, God knows what you mean. But there is power in releasing it. There is power in agreement. And in this community, we don't just scroll. We stand in the gap for each other. You are not alone. Someone here is going to pray for you. I'm going to pray for you. Because when you type that request, you're not typing into an algorithm. You're sowing into a spiritual breakthrough. And if this word is already speaking to you, if you've felt the presence of God as we've been talking, then do something bold right now. Hit the like button, not for the views, but as a sign of agreement, as a signal that you're saying, I receive this, I'm ready. Subscribe if you haven't yet, because what's coming next, the next revelation, is something you cannot miss. This is a spiritual journey, and you've just crossed the threshold. Now leave your request in the comments, because we're about to pray, and your name will not be forgotten. Ever since you were little, there was a question you couldn't escape. even if you couldn't say it out loud. Why do I feel different? While other kids were lost in games or noise, you would drift away, eyes fixed on the sky, the stars, or the shadows on the wall, as if something was trying to speak to you through silence. You felt watched, but not in fear. It was something greater, a divine presence, a knowing. You weren't imagining it. That sensation, that vibration you felt in your chest when you were alone, was the very beginning of your spiritual awakening. Your divine calling didn't start in adulthood. It didn't wait for you to be ready. It was always there, quietly echoing beneath the noise of the world, hidden in moments no one else noticed, like when you couldn't sleep because your thoughts were too loud, or when you felt sadness in rooms full of laughter, or when you just knew something bad was about to happen, and it did. This is the experience of the chosen ones, the ones who were never fully part of the world because they were never meant to be. You were set apart, not for status, but for purpose, for mission. You didn't come here to blend in. You came here to remember, and every moment of your childhood was whispering that truth. But it wasn't easy, was it? Because being chosen doesn't feel like a gift when you're young. It feels like isolation. It feels like nobody understands you. It feels like you're speaking a language no one else even hears. You were probably called too sensitive, too intense, too deep, or too dramatic. But what they couldn't see is that you were tuned into something spiritual. You weren't overreacting, you were awakening. Chosen ones often carry a weight they can't explain, and that's because your spirit has been receiving divine codes since you were a child. It's why certain memories don't fade, why dreams from years ago still feel vivid, why you sometimes cry for no reason, and why certain music or words hit you so deeply it's like someone opened a door inside you. That door has been waiting to open fully, and now it is. You've probably felt it accelerating lately. The world is louder, but so is the call. You might see repeating numbers, 1111, 333, 707, and feel chills you can't explain. You might wake up in the middle of the night, heart racing, thoughts spinning, but instead of fear, there's a quiet voice underneath it all whispering, "You're not crazy, you're remembering." God speaks in layers, and when you're chosen, He doesn't give you everything at once. He gives you fragments, clues, dreams, pain, patterns, and with each one, He's asking, "Are you listening?" If you're still here, reading this, watching this, feeling this, then yes, you're listening. And you're exactly where you're supposed to be. That sense of not fitting in, it wasn't rejection, it was redirection. It was protection. Because God wasn't trying to exclude you, He was preparing you. If you had belonged to the world, you would have stayed asleep. But He needed you awake, alert, activated, because your mission requires sensitivity, it requires vision, it requires a level of spiritual awareness that most people will never understand. You were marked, and not just spiritually. If you think back, there are probably signs on your physical body, a birthmark, a scar, a strange moment you survived that no one else did. These are not random. These are sacred evidence of a calling that started long before you arrived in this life. And that calling? It's getting louder. The more chaotic the world becomes, the more the chosen ones are being summoned. No more hiding. No more dimming your light to make others comfortable. No more doubting what you already know deep in your soul. If you've ever felt that undeniable pull, like something greater has always been watching you, guiding you, setting you apart, you're not alone. You're one of us. And now, I want you to do something bold. In the comments, write just this phrase, "I've felt it my whole life," or share your story, no matter how small it seems. Tell me when you first realized you were different, when you knew, even without proof, that God had written something unique into your path. Your words might be the confirmation someone else has been praying for. Let's awaken together. And then, everything starts to fall apart. Not all at once, but piece by piece, quietly, slowly, sometimes so subtly that you don't even realize it's happening, until one day you look around and nothing feels familiar anymore. Relationships begin to crumble. The job that once made sense suddenly feels like a prison. Your routines feel hollow. The people you used to laugh with now feel like strangers. And worst of all, the things that once brought you comfort no longer work. This is what we call the breaking. It's not a punishment. It's not karma. It's not bad luck. It's a spiritual transformation in motion, a divine interruption of everything that was never meant to last. When you're truly chosen, when your soul carries a higher purpose, the universe and the hand of God will begin to shake everything around you that isn't in alignment with that purpose. What feels like loss is actually protection. What feels like chaos is actually order being restored in a way your logic can't yet comprehend. But I know how it feels. You cry more than usual. You question everything. The silence in your room at night feels heavy. Your phone rings less. People stop inviting you to things, and you begin to wonder, what did I do wrong? The answer? Nothing. You didn't do anything wrong. You've simply outgrown the version of reality you were surviving in. And now, that version is collapsing. This is what many spiritual texts and teachings refer to as the ego death. It's the painful process where all the illusions about who you thought you were, what you thought you needed, and what you thought you were supposed to be, begin to disintegrate. It's terrifying because the ego wants control. It wants clarity, it wants certainty, and during this process, you feel like you've lost all three. But what's actually happening is this: the shell is breaking so that the truth can rise. The false identity is dissolving so that your divine identity, the one written into your soul before you were born, can be remembered and activated. And yes, it feels like dying. But what's dying isn't you. It's the version of you that was never real, never whole, never aligned. And once that version is stripped away, you'll see clearly the job loss, a setup for redirection, the heartbreak, a sacred severing, the isolation, a spiritual cocoon, because you cannot become what you're called to be while still clinging to what you were told to be. You cannot rise as a chosen one while trying to maintain a life built on comfort and control. The collapse before the awakening is necessary, and it's divine. Some call it the dark night of the soul, others call it the wilderness. But whatever name you give it, the truth remains. God breaks before he builds. He deconstructs before he elevates. And if your life has started to unravel, it's only because your soul is starting to emerge. This moment, this strange, painful, confusing moment in your life is sacred. It's a portal. You are being invited to release what no longer serves your evolution. You are being asked to trust what you can't yet see. And that's the hardest part. Walking by faith, not by sight. But listen to me closely. The silence you're hearing now isn't the absence of God. It's the volume of preparation. Heaven is at work behind the veil, rearranging your reality to match the frequency of who you truly are. And when it's ready, when you're ready, the shift will be sudden. People will wonder how you changed so fast. But the truth is, you didn't change overnight. You were being prepared in the shadows, in the stillness, in the moments of collapse that no one saw. This is not the end. This is the beginning of a version of you that's finally in alignment with your calling. And here's what I want you to hold on to. You're not being broken. You're being built differently. Chosen ones do not walk ordinary paths. Your breakdowns are sacred. Your confusion is holy. And your losses, every single one of them, is making space for something far more aligned with your purpose. So don't run from the falling apart. Let it fall. Let the version of you that was surviving fall. Let the relationships that don't nourish your soul fall. Let the environments that silence your spirit fall. Because what's rising from the rubble is a soul on fire with truth, a soul that remembers, a soul that's being awakened. If this is resonating with you, if you've been going through this breaking season, I want you to drop one sentence in the comments right now. I'm not breaking down, I'm breaking free. Or tell me what's been collapsing in your life lately. You're not alone. We are all in this transformation together, and I promise you, this isn't destruction. It's the doorway to your divine expansion. And then, just like that, the world stops making sense. Things that once felt solid begin to dissolve. People who used to bring you joy now feel like strangers. Everything feels off. You find yourself searching for meaning in the most ordinary moments. You wake up and feel like something is missing, not in your room, not in your house, but in your soul. And just when you think you're imagining things, the signs begin. It starts small. You check your phone and it's 11:11. Later it's 3:33, then 4:44. You see the same sequence on receipts, addresses, license plates, timestamps. You ignore it once, twice, but by the 10th time, something inside you stirs. What are the odds? Why do these patterns follow you? It's not a glitch. It's not your mind playing tricks. These are frequencies, divine codes, and they're meant to wake you up, because the chosen one symptoms don't come gently. They shake the ground beneath your identity. They disrupt your comfort. They demand attention. These are spiritual signs, confirmation that you are not just existing, but that you are being summoned. Suddenly, your dreams shift. They become vivid, emotional, symbolic. You remember them even days later. You wake up at strange hours, often around 3 a.m., feeling wide awake as if your soul is on alert. You feel watched, but not in fear, in recognition, as if someone, something, is checking in on your progress. This is not random. It's your spiritual awakening symptoms intensifying. Then your emotions begin to stretch. You feel things stronger than you ever did before. Music hits differently. Silence becomes overwhelming. Crowded places drain your energy. Certain voices trigger chills. You cry more, not out of sadness, but because your soul is expanding. You're experiencing a spiritual transformation. You are being softened, refined, made ready. You also notice your intuition sharpening. You say things before they happen. You sense people's energy before they speak. You feel danger where others feel nothing. And sometimes you just know things, and they turn out to be true. This is not paranoia. This is divine alignment. Your spirit is tuning into a frequency that only a few can hear. That's when the rejection begins. Not from the universe, but from society. The system no longer fits. You start to feel like a stranger in your own life. Jobs, trends, conversations, they all feel hollow. You can't fake interest anymore. You begin to reject the system entirely because your soul recognizes its falseness. Your spirit knows you weren't made to fit in. You were made to awaken, and no matrix can contain someone who is awakening. And then comes the deepest sign of all, the calling. You begin to feel chosen, not in ego, but in burden. It weighs on you. It follows you. You look at the world and you feel both pain and purpose. You feel like you were meant to do something big. You don't know what it is yet, but you can't deny the pull. It's in your chest, it's in your bones. You are not here to be normal. You were placed here on purpose. You were designed to rise, and the signs just won't stop. Because once the activation begins, the process is irreversible. You've crossed a line in the spirit, and now the universe, God, and your higher self are all aligning to push you forward. This is the awakening you can't unsee, the truth you can't unknow, and the fire you can't extinguish. The 7 signs are real. You've likely experienced some, or maybe all, of them. You've had lucid dreams that felt more real than waking life. You've seen repeating numbers daily. You felt emotional intensity that no one around you could understand. You've had the sensation of being observed, guided. You've experienced a powerful inner voice or intuition that saved you or warned you. You've begun to reject societal norms, questioning everything. And most of all, you've felt the sacred weight of being called. These are not random, these are not delusions. These are divine confirmations. And the more you resist them, the louder they become. So now I ask you, not just as a viewer, but as someone on the same journey, Which of these signs shook you the most? Which one made your soul say, "That's me, that's my life"? Go to the comments right now and let me know. You can write the sign that resonated most, or simply type, "I am being activated," or even, "It's been happening to me." Don't stay silent. Your comment is not just engagement, it's confirmation. It's a way to say out loud, "I see what's happening, and I'm not running anymore." Let's see who else is waking up with you, because the activation has only just begun. And once you realize that the signs are real, that the universe isn't playing games, that this awakening isn't a phase or a coincidence, something shifts inside you. You try to go back to normal, but normal doesn't fit anymore. You try to numb it, silence it, outthink it. But no matter how far you run, how much you distract yourself, how busy you keep your mind, the truth follows you. Because when you're chosen, you cannot run from what was written. You may take detours, you may delay the journey, you may even sabotage your progress. But you can't erase the calling, you can't delete the mission. You can't unwrite what heaven already tattooed into your soul. There's something terrifying and beautiful about that, because it means your life is not random. It means your pain had purpose, your confusion had direction, your detours were still part of the map. So when you try to blend in, the universe starts to resist your disguise. Things that once worked stop working. People you relied on fade away. What used to fulfill you now leaves you empty. It's not that you're being punished. It's that you're being redirected. God loves you too much to let you settle into a life that was never yours. And when the soul is chosen, the path becomes sacred. And sacred paths can't be faked. At first, the signs were subtle. Soft nudges, gut feelings, whispers. But when you ignore the call long enough, those whispers turn into shouts. The synchronicities become undeniable. You think of someone, and they call. You say you're done with something, and it collapses the next day. You ask for a sign, and it shows up in ways you can't explain. This is what happens when universal signs intensify. It's not magic, it's alignment. It's the divine reminding you. I haven't forgotten you, you're still on assignment. And here's where it gets even deeper. The more you resist the path, the more life begins to tighten around you. Not to hurt you, but to reroute you. Wrong doors start slamming shut. False friendships dissolve, comfort zones crack open. The universe begins to strip away every illusion you tried to hide behind. Because the mission you carry can't be fulfilled half asleep. It requires clarity. It requires full surrender. And surrender isn't passive, it's not weakness. Surrender is the highest form of spiritual obedience. It means you stop negotiating with your calling. You stop begging for normalcy. You stop bargaining with God to let you live small. Instead, you open your hands. You fall to your knees. You whisper, "Whatever you wrote, I accept." And that's when everything changes. Your vision sharpens. The distractions lose their grip. You start feeling a sense of direction again, not because everything is easy, but because your soul is finally aligned. The chaos outside doesn't own you anymore. The noise can't pull you off center, because now you remember who you are, or at least you're starting to. And who you are was always connected to something greater than this world, something higher, something holy. You were not created to wander. You were created to walk a divine path. You are not aimless. You are encoded with instructions. And the fact that life has felt increasingly difficult lately is not a sign that you're lost. It's proof that your purpose is too big to live in smallness any longer. You've tried to run, to forget, to minimize. But the more you run from it, the more exhausted you feel. Because every step away from your truth is heavy. It drains you, it confuses you, but every step towards surrender, even the smallest one, fills you, realigns you, activates you. It's like a magnet pulling you back to yourself. You see signs you can't explain. You hear messages that speak directly to your situation. Videos like this appear at just the right moment. People show up with the exact words your soul needed to hear. These are not accidents. They are divine breadcrumbs, leading you back to the place where you stopped listening, back to the mission, back to the voice, back to the truth. And maybe right now you're standing at the edge. Maybe this is the moment where you either step into the fire of your true life or back into the fog of pretending. But I know this: the longer you delay the path, the louder it will call. And eventually, the only way forward will be to surrender completely, not just in theory, not just in moments of desperation, but fully with your time, your choices, your voice, your energy, because what was written over you was written in eternal ink. It cannot be erased. It cannot be transferred. It's yours. And only you can walk it. You can try to swap it, sell it, silence it, but you will never outrun it. That's how sacred it is. That's how personal it is. That's how chosen you are. And even if you've resisted until now, that's okay. Because every time you come back, the mission is still there, waiting. It never left. It never disappeared. The divine doesn't abandon its design, and your spirit remembers. So tell me in the comments, have you tried to run? Have you ever felt like you were trying to escape something you couldn't explain? Write, "I'm done running." Or if you're still in the wrestle, type, "I'm trying to surrender." Let's see who's walking back into alignment right now. Let's find the others who were written into this exact moment with us. Now you see it. Now you know. You've felt the breaking. You've seen the signs. You've tried to run. And still, here you are. The illusions have cracked. The lies you believed about who you were supposed to be no longer hold weight. The distractions that used to keep you numb don't work anymore. And all that's left is the truth. And the truth is this: you were never meant to be ordinary. You were chosen, handpicked, marked by something divine long before this moment, long before this year, long before you even had the words to explain what was happening to you. This journey you're on, it didn't start today. It didn't start when your life fell apart. It didn't even start with the first signs of your awakening. It started the moment you took your first breath, and maybe even before that. But until now, you were only seeing fragments, pieces of a much greater puzzle, visions in dreams, whispers in silence, chills when no one else felt anything. And now, the puzzle is beginning to form. Because when you reach this level of awareness, you don't just wake up, you begin to remember. The illusion of randomness dies here. The idea that you're just figuring life out falls away. What takes its place is revelation. And revelation isn't gentle, it cuts deep. It peels back the layers of everything you've used to protect yourself, your doubt, your logic, your resistance. And it exposes something ancient inside of you, something eternal, something written. You can feel it, can't you? The pull, the ache, the sense that something massive is just beyond the veil, like there's something waiting to be revealed, something that changes everything. And you're right, there is. Because once you recognize the signs, you're faced with a choice: wake up or fall back asleep. It's the moment every chosen one must face, the crossroad. You've gathered the signs, you've felt the calling, you've heard the voice behind the veil. But now, you must decide. Will you surrender to the mission? Will you align your life to what you've always known deep down? Or will you retreat into comfort, back into forgetting? But know this: once your eyes are open, nothing will ever satisfy you again unless it's aligned with your true path. You can try to go back, you can pretend, but the restlessness will follow you, the fire will burn, because your soul wasn't created to shrink, it was created to rise. And once it remembers who it is, nothing else feels real. And here's the part most people never talk about. The revelation doesn't stop here. This is only the beginning. Because what if the signs didn't start in your adulthood? What if the patterns were there all along, hidden in plain sight? What if your entire life was leaving you breadcrumbs? Here's the truth that's going to shake you. Many chosen ones were marked from childhood. Before you even knew what calling meant, you were already different. You noticed things. You felt things. You asked questions no one else asked. You cried for reasons others didn't understand. You had dreams that stayed with you for years. You talked to invisible presences. You sensed when something was off, even if no one else could feel it. And all of it, was the beginning of your activation. Some called you strange. Others said you were too sensitive. Some ignored you. Some tried to fix you. But none of them understood that your childhood was not random. It was sacred. It carried the first whispers of your mission. And if you look closely, the signs were there all along. You might be wondering now, how did I not see this before? You did. You just didn't have the language. You didn't have the framework. But now, as the veil lifts, as you become who you truly are, you'll begin to look back with new eyes. You'll see moments from your childhood that weren't coincidences. They were confirmations. Moments when you felt disconnected from the world were actually signs that your spirit was remembering its origin. Moments when you felt deeply alone were divine protections, keeping you from systems that would try to erase your light. Moments when you knew things no child should know were spiritual downloads before you even had the vocabulary to explain them. And here's what's wild. Once you remember those signs from childhood, once you start seeing them for what they truly were, everything else in your life begins to make sense. The pain, the isolation, the questions, the patterns, the timing, everything. And that's exactly where we're going next. In the next episode, we're going to uncover the truth that no one told you. The earliest signs of your divine path were present from the very beginning. Some of them were emotional, others were energetic. Some showed up as trauma, others as gifts, but all of them pointed to the same truth. You were chosen from the start. So if what you've just experienced in this video shook you, if your heart is racing, your chest is heavy, or your eyes are filled with tears, know this: it's not the end. It's the beginning of the greatest revelation of your life, and you need to be there for what comes next. Because what we'll unlock together will not only help you understand your past, it will launch you into your true future. So don't miss the next part of this series. Don't let the momentum die here. You've come too far to go back. This isn't a moment, it's a movement, and you're part of it. If you made it all the way to this point, that means your spirit is ready. Go to the comments right now and type, "I am ready." Let's see how many chosen ones are waking up together. If you felt the voice of God in this message, not just in your ears, but in your spirit, then this space was meant for you. This isn't just a video. This is a confirmation, a reminder, a calling. You didn't find this channel by accident. And if something inside you lit up, even just a flicker, it means the activation has already begun. So here's what I want you to do now. First, hit that subscribe button right now, because this isn't a one-time experience. This is a journey, a remembering. And I promise you, the next revelations we're going to share are going to unlock things you've carried your whole life, but never had the words for. Second, if you made it all the way to this point, I want you to drop a comment below that says, "I heard him." That's it, just 3 words, but those words carry weight. Let's see how many others felt the same presence. Let's see how many of us are waking up together. Third, if this word moved you, if it stirred something deep inside, tap the like button, not just for the algorithm, but as a public agreement, a spiritual yes, a way to say, "I receive this, I'm ready." And finally, don't stop here. The video that's showing up on your screen right now, that's not just a suggestion, that's your next step, because in it, you'll see that this calling didn't start today. It started when you were just a child. And once you see those signs clearly, you'll never doubt your mission again. You're not alone anymore. We're building something here, a movement of the awakened, and you are already part of it. Let's keep walking together.